I am Jesper Holm, and I am the leader of the Touche. And here's the group, 11 singers plus me. And Touche is, what should I say, a vocal big band, we call it actually. The background is really back in time. 25 years ago, I was at the music school, and there was a little choir there, youth choir, and there was a big development of that choir during the years. And now, for the last 10, 15 years, it has been more kind of semi-professional group, professional today, and it has been a long journey with this. Really fun to try to make it sound cool and go for the goal I had about vocal jazz, and especially I love a lot the style of Singers Unlimited, and I'll get back to that later maybe, and the big band music, and so that was the goal, how to sing this in a group that is not a choir and not a vocal group actually. Well, the music that we choose to sing is it's from the great songbook, jazz songbook. Of course, lots of tunes from there that are just calling for new arrangements, even though a lot of them have been arranged a lot during the years. But we also have our ideas to how it could sound. We choose songs from different places there, but also a couple of Danish and Swedish songs actually.
I think we're also quite fortunate that we have Copenhagen has always been like a center of jazz since I guess the 50s.
Yeah.
And we have quite a big appreciation for jazz around Denmark, especially in Copenhagen, but that also means that maybe compared to some other places, more young people will go out and hear a concert. It's not often Copenhagen we play our concerts, but we're always happy when we do.
One of the real big ones that have been in Denmark living for many years was the composer and arranger Thad Jones, big band composer arranger. He lived here for many years until he died in 1984 actually, and he was a great inspiration for me also. And then you asked about how the music of vocal jazz is received by the Danes, and how it is in Denmark with vocal jazz. And we must say that Denmark is not that big, but actually there's a huge scene of a cappella, vocal a cappella, not so much jazz maybe, but also a cappella pop and world pop at the moment. Or actually we had at the conservatory, at the Royal Academy, we have a vocal center, and this vocal center we actually teach students, conductors from all over Europe, from over 20 countries, 20 different countries, and from all over Europe, when there are about 60 students at the moment. We are 4 teachers there, and I teach there together with Jim Daus-Jernø, Marlene Richtrup, and also the former member of the real group, Peter Carlson, the baritone from the real group. And we teach these people in how to do innovative choir leading. And with innovative choir leading, we means how can we lead choirs today in a more rhythmically jazz pop world way, improvisational way. Really fun, and it's great that we have so many students from whole Europe and also other countries outside Europe.
Also add that the choir tradition in the whole of Scandinavia is very big. There are lots of choirs in every Swedish and Danish town, so that's very common to sing in a choir on a hobby.
You see, this group we have a lot of Swedish people actually. So this is great. Half, or actually more at the moment, of the singers in Touche are now from Sweden actually. So that's and we are happy about that. So they have also big tradition of singing in Sweden. Christians, I think. But beautiful. I did that arrangement, and I just felt inspired by one of my big heroes, or I should say the big hero for me, Gene Perling, from High Lows and the Singers Unlimited, of course, and so that inspired me for writing that arrangement. And it's actually also me that writes the most of our arrangements. Yes, that we are doing, and some of them are also just transcriptions, I could say, or rearranging, because we are also doing a lot of big band stuff, big band classics from Count Basie, for example, songs like Shiny Stockings and Whirly Bird, and we just adapted them for voices. And by the way, mention voices, we actually recently also have a concert together with the New York Voices at Aarhus Vocal Festival in Denmark, and that was really cool because we were asked to do the big band arrangement that are behind New York Voices. So that was really cool to work with the group and be on stage with them in Aarhus and sing the really challenging charge from Diamond Meter together with the group New York Voices. Yeah. And now I'll come back again to Gene Perling and Singers Unlimited, because that was actually my goal. Because Gene Perling said that his arrangements were not supposed to be sung live, and that's why they never performed live with the Singers Unlimited. Maybe once actually, but it was a secret one, I think. But he said that, and I said, well, I'll try. We should sing these arrangements live. So that was one of my goals. So I decided to form this group in a way so we could do the same thing as they do on their recordings, and that means the overdubbing stuff. They were only 4 singers, as many people might know, and they did all this overdubbing. And I thought we can do that live if we are enough people. So we have the special sound, I call it shadowing, where some of the voices are doubling each other. So we have one lead singer and then 1 or 2 shadow singers, for example. And that makes this really thick sound that you, of course, hear from a lot of recordings from different vocal groups. They also do that trick in the studio, singing the same voice one more time and put it out left and right, so they shadow themselves, and it's nearly not. You cannot nearly hear that there are 3 times recording, and that's what we do here with our singers. So we get that really broad sound of kind of the Singers Unlimited, and we also only have 1 bass singer, and that's really an important thing for this group. Many choirs have more bass singers, but in this group I decided back in 2001, where a lot of bassists left the group actually, then I decided, well, now we'll have only 1 bass singer, and then try to make it right. And then we got the sound that I looked for many years. And just like in big band, when we do the big band music, there's only 1 bass player, of course. So we have a small choir with a bass, with only one bass singer, and I also do the percussion, the drums, and so in that way we get the sound that we have. And maybe we should actually demonstrate a little bit of these 2 ways of. Should we do that? Yeah. That's a little more.
Just before you do.
Yeah.
Because you also talked about the how do we get to our interpretation of jazz?
Yeah.
And I think we also continue to work on the time, the swing of it. At least this is part of what I see as a difference between us and some of the other groups is the way we work with it, and of course we're supported a lot by the fact that most people are work with jazz in their everyday, right? But you also bring that into the way we interpret the sheets once they've been arranged, bringing just a subtleness to the time. We try to, at least.
Yeah, try to make it swing in the way they work in big band actually, and get it adapted from there. I also played a lot of big bands actually.
Yeah, one more detail is that we all use microphones, one each, and that's also not very usual in choir groups. That makes the sound as well.
Yeah, exactly. And in the way that we use the microphone also when we do the shadowing technique is that we can adjust the level each of us to make the right shadowing sound. Hey, should we do one of the songs that can shadowing? What about it should be a Gene Perling song, and maybe the one that we have in Swedish. What are you doing the rest of your life? In English, but in Swedish heter det "Du är det vackra jag ser i mitt liv", and it was actually written for the real group, and we had borrowed the arrangement from the real group, and they are so nice to let it out to us, and it's also on our new CD, and we sing it in Swedish because we have some Swedes here in the group also, so we like to sing it in Swedish. So you should hear a little bit of that now. And there you will also hear the sound of, they call it the sound of the Singers Unlimited. Gene Perling does that in his arrangements. And the sound is actually this shadowing stuff that I just talked about.
Maybe we can say that the repertoire right now is defined by the CD we put out last year. But just during the years, we've had many different projects as well, and we've done also projects where we did mainly Danish language music. Well, not mainly, but a lot of it, as much as we can with the subject matter of being big band jazz, right?
I think one thing is that we are so many people and still sing arrangements with so many parts in it. Actually, at one point we are too few to sing it. In the end of Full on the Hill that we sang in the Gene Perling arrangement, there are 14 voices, but we're only 11. so we've had to change that, but still we are a lot of people in comparison to a lot of other groups.
And may I add that I think one of the things that sets this group apart is that you get the sound of the big, fat, large groups of brass players and saxophone players. But me as the only bass singer, I get the freedom to improvise my walking bass line. And that is a vocal group thing that you can do when you've got like 5 people singing jazz. But with larger groups, normally the walking would be written out because maybe 3 basses would sing it. And I think that's the best of both worlds that works really well in this specific style.
Jesper, then we should just demonstrate what we are doing in that big band style, and then do a couple of bars of the legendary song from Woody Herman, Big Band for Brothers, for saxophones. And we, of course, all know that Manhattan Transfer did that, Vocalise, back in time. And I always thought, why not do the big band chart a cappella? And also, so we do now, we'll just show a little bit of this song.
Such a fun song. We work with different people to do the contracting for us. We have tried different models, and of course because we are musicians from different parts of Scandinavia, we also try to help build new contacts and so on. It's great that you want to feature us as well. We like going to the States as well. So that leads into what you asked, that how far do we travel? We perform mainly actually outside of Denmark. We perform quite a lot in Northern Europe in general. So the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, but we've visited even the States and Canada. We've oftentimes visited France and further down into Europe. But Europe would be our main venue. The government doesn't have a huge subsidy for the arts, at least like we would like. And we in the group, we haven't got any corporate funding or government funding. So all we do is earned on ticket sales, CD sales, and so on. But we do get we have a tax exemption because we're an arts thing, and many of the venues that we visit get some kind of government subsidy, at least in Denmark. I think in Sweden as well. There is support for the arts through supporting the venues, so they can afford to pay the musicians a proper wage and so on. So in that way we do it. And just today we had a gig in the western part of Denmark that was supported by a local firm there. So of course it's everywhere, but we don't get any direct support.
And the Kickstarter campaign was partly funded by, the CD project was partly funded by a Kickstarter campaign that we had.
We're happy that we got to do some of the collaborations we've done these last years have really led to us meeting some great people from the vocal world. Even going back maybe 10 years, we were part of the Polyfolia festival that was going on at the time in France, and there we met, for instance, Club for Five that you were talking about having featured on Behind the Mic. We've met recently, like Jesper told, we met New York Voices, and this scene of vocal jazz, vocal music seems to be expanding and coming together. In Aarhus, in another town in Denmark, we have a festival every other year that Touche has been lucky enough to go to as well every time, and there we get to meet, for instance, people from the States, from around the world, not just Europe. So it's great to be a part of that.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining this, and thank you to you for calling us and have this interview. It's been a pleasure to be here.